Peace. This is AsaYHWH Ben Yisrael, the iconoclast, with MFD News, Man's Final Dominion. This is a brief update on the situation transpiring in Texas with the deep chill or the deep freeze that the people are experiencing with the loss of power and also loss of life. This is the news that the lamestream media, which is controlled by the Edomites, will not show on the television and will not allow people to become knowledgeable of. We go over to the Houston Chronicle, where the headline reads, "Toll of harsh winter weather comes into focus as reported deaths climb sharply." Here you have a picture of a couple. Carol Andy G. Anderson died of hypothermia after he went to his truck where he kept a portable bottle of oxygen, according to family and authorities. So people are dying of hypothermia and freezing because of the deep chill that has enshrouded Texas. The article reads, soon after Carol Anderson lost power in his Crosby home earlier this week, his oxygen machine stopped working. He had asked his provider for more tanks the previous week, but didn't get any before harsh winter conditions set in. The 75-year-old Vietnam War veteran turned to 2 small bottles of oxygen he had, but his supply quickly depleted. With no firewood left and temperatures plummeting, Anderson turned to his last resort to breathe, a small portable oxygen tank he kept in his truck. It was 19 degrees outside. He died in his truck Tuesday. He shouldn't have had to die because he couldn't breathe because we didn't have power, said Gloria Anderson, Carol's wife of 30 years, through tears in a telephone interview. Anderson's death was one of 4 deaths caused by hypothermia that Harris County authorities announced on Thursday. 2 people, Jimmy Gloud and Mary G., died at their Houston homes. A man was also found dead early Thursday in a parking lot in the northern part of Harris County, a fatality also attributed to the cold weather. So the freeze is taking lives left and right. As temperatures rose and the Houston region began to thaw after several days of sub-freezing temperatures, the number of reported local deaths related to cold weather doubled on Thursday, bringing the toll of the crisis into sharper focus, so it doubled. In addition to the Harris County deaths, Galveston and Brazoria counties reported 9 fatalities, bringing the number in the area who are believed to have died in weather-related incidents to 25. 25 people. That several people were found dead from hypothermia inside their homes underscored how the extreme frigid weather since Monday, combined with massive power outages, had created unusually severe conditions. Temperatures were expected to drop into the 20s overnight before climbing into the mid-40s on Friday. So people are freezing to death even inside their own homes. The weather is not just cold, it's deadly, said Ed Gonzalez, the Harris County Sheriff. Death toll uncertainty. The spat of weather-related deaths incensed Galveston County Judge Mark Henry, who called for the district attorney to open an investigation, speculating that the body count is larger than what has been reported. They're always investigating things and never finding anything out. Did you ever notice that? Earlier in the week, Henry received a request from the county medical examiner's office for temporary storage for 20 to 50 bodies that it did not normally have capacity for. Word on the streets is that they have refrigerated trucks because there are so many bodies. I just want to make sure that there's someone to file a complaint to get the process started to have an investigation about people who died that shouldn't have, Henry said. Of the 7 dead in Galveston County, 2 victims, a 50-year-old Hitchcock man and an 88-year-old Baycliff woman, died from cold exposure on Tuesday. A 70-year-old Santa Fe man was also found dead on Tuesday from suspected carbon monoxide poisoning. So these people are going out and starting their cars in their driveways, or rather in their garages, and leaving them running, and they're dying from carbon monoxide poisoning. 4 additional Galveston County deaths were possibly related to cold weather exposure pending autopsies. A 62-year-old Galveston man was found dead on Monday. On Tuesday, authorities recovered 3 bodies. An 85-year-old Dickinson woman, an 89-year-old Hitchcock woman, and a 62-year-old Santa Fe man. It seems that these deaths are happening to people who are older, who are up in age, above like 50. That's what I can garner so far. Henry Trachesset, the Galveston County Sheriff, had said on Tuesday alone his deputies responded to 5 deaths in unincorporated parts of the county, all from residents who died in their homes. We had a couple of calls where my dispatch said their oxygen levels dropped or ran out, Trachesset said, adding that several of the deaths that his deputies responded to hadn't been reported to. So there's more on the way. The medical examiner's office also reported 2 deaths from Brazoria County. A 39-year-old Angleton woman died Wednesday from possible cold exposure, and a 72-year-old Pearland man was found dead on Saturday from possible carbon monoxide poisoning. So ixnay on the old day. This woman was 39, and she died from cold exposure. Indoor hypothermia rare, reads the next bullet point. Medical examiners say the cluster of hypothermia deaths involving people found inside is highly unusual. Hypothermia occurs when a person's body temperature drops below 95 degrees. However, it starts to become more dangerous at 89 degrees. Dr. Christopher Langen, Vice President and Chief Medical Officer at Memorial Hermann, the Woodlands Medical Center, and Memorial Hermann Northeast Hospital, said in extreme cases, hypothermia or low body temperature can cause issues with the person's heart, and abnormal heart rhythms can lead to death. That's when you start becoming confused, and then your body also loses the ability to shiver, so you can't even warm yourself anymore. When a person's core body temperature drops to 82 degrees, he or she can become unconscious and go into cardiac arrest, Langen said. If you're inside, you have that shelter. You're blocked from wind and the wind chill. Usually people are doing better that way, said Langen. Obviously, people that are homeless, for example, or if they've had an event outside that leaves them with the inability to get back inside, those are the ones that are really quite at risk. You don't say that the people outside when it's freezing are the ones that are really at risk. Okay. Captain Obvious over here. In addition to layering up inside, Langen also advised people to avoid drinking alcohol and not overexert themselves, which can lead to sweating, causing the body to cool down even more. He advises people to call 911 if someone's mental status changes. So he's advising not to drink alcohol. Who's not going to drink when they're sitting inside freezing and worried about the electricity and worried if they're going to make it through the day or through the night? Carbon monoxide deaths are becoming more frequent as well in cold weather as people rely on gas generators to power their homes and vehicles to charge devices. So they're powering their homes with their electrical generators or electric generators, and the fumes are being trapped inside the homes and is causing people to die. Etanes Mersha and her 7-year-old daughter were found dead Monday, likely of carbon monoxide poisoning, after she ran her car in the garage of her family's West Houston home to charge a cell phone, according to authorities and a relative. Mersha's husband, Ado Shelemu Bekele collapsed from carbon monoxide exposure while attempting to aid his wife. Bekele and the couple's son were taken to the hospital in critical condition. Bekele was discharged Thursday, but his son remained in the hospital. Quote, "It's very hard to bear this," said Nagesh Desta, a relative of Mersha's. Pain of loss is the final bullet point. For Gloria Anderson, the pain of losing her life partner is compounded by how easily it could have been avoided had power outages not forced him into sub-freezing temperatures to find an oxygen tank. Carol Anderson worked for the Port Terminal Railroad Association for 36 years. The two met at a video store where Gloria worked that Anderson frequented, checking out Western films and Bruce Willis-type action movies like Die Hard. She said he was a caring man who loved his daughter and grandson to pieces. Instead, she stayed with Carol's body in the bitter cold for hours, waiting for authorities to arrive and carry him away. "I mean, we are not spring chickens, but there was no reason for this," Anderson said. So as you can see here, the situation in Texas is dire, but the lamestream media, the Edomites, are not reporting on this.
But 56% of the people in the city don't have power. I don't have running water in my house. There's a growing number of people in Houston. I think it was maybe a third of people, but now I think it's starting to grow. And even in small towns around Texas, like Baytown and Port Arthur, they've shut the water off completely so that their water system does not get destroyed right now. Texas does not have the infrastructure to deal with something like this. It was never anticipated. And so that's why you have so many people with freezing pipes, because the majority of people in Houston do not have insulated pipes because there was necessarily not a need. Let's talk energy. Let's talk about this 56% of people in Houston that don't have energy right now. It's because Texas is the only state in the United States, in the 48 continental United States, that isn't connected to the federal supply of energy. Why is that? Because Texas broke away from it, privatized it, monetized it for their own purposes, and now the residents in Texas are suffering. People in Houston, people in Baytown, Conroe, Willis, people in Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, and all these little small towns in between. I don't know if the news is really talking about this on the national level, but people are dying here. They just asked for a refrigerated truck in Galveston County to help store bodies, because they have more than 20 bodies that they need to store right now. People are dying from carbon monoxide in their homes right now. I can't even tell you how many thousands of people in Houston are choosing to they have no choice. They're sleeping in their cars outside to try to keep them and their families warm. People is in their house with multiple hoodies and coats and stuff. And keep in mind, this is Houston, Texas. So a lot of these people with coats, they don't have North Face. They don't have Columbia jackets. They don't have insulated coats. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just trying to let everybody know about what's really going on out here.
So that was Bun B with an on the scene, in the midst of the situation, breakdown of what's going on. I'm going to include a link to his Instagram in the description to this video. You can go there and watch the rest of it. It's 7 minutes long. I hope this video was informative. If you found it to be helpful or you found it to be knowledgeable, like, comment, subscribe, and share. This has been the Iconoclast, AsaYHWH Ben Yisrael with MFD News, Man's Final Dominion. Peace.